Hi, this is Stef, the internet
And the
guy,
G-Man.
and I'm here with the G-Man, Alan Gitlin. Hello, hello, hello. How are you
Hello,
tonight,
Steph.
Alan?
I'm always doing good, man. Well, if I wake up, I'm doing good.
That's any day you get up is a good day at this stage of your life, I would imagine.
Well, if
Yeah,
I didn't wake up, I wouldn't be talking to you now.
that's right. Yeah, you'd be dead in your sleep. Any event, I want to let everyone know that Alan Gitlin is the co-host to this new comedy show. We're going to be doing this every Thursday night, God willing, at 9 p.m. Right now it's under the Internet Guy for You, but next week we'll probably have under a new branding, which will be called Live Thursday Night, and it'll be on at 9 p.m. every Thursday. And so I'm excited about what we're launching, and we got a lot of things to cover tonight. And Alan, again, I'm looking forward to this. Welcome to the program. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the viewers know a little bit about who the G-Man really is.
Well, the G-Man is an actor and a comedian and a podcast host and guest. I've been on many podcasts as a guest and also a original script writer. And I'm trying to get into voice over acting right now. And so far, everything's good, man. I'm just having fun with it. Having fun, making money, a little money, and network.
Yeah, network is the name of the game, especially in
Yeah,
these troubling times that we live in. So it's good now that we take this time to be grateful and thankful that we can have this ability, this platform, to be able to share it with the world because you can't go out and do it. So this is the
correct.
the technology of the present, I'll say. Tonight's show is interesting because we're going to be talking about interpretations or what is called idioms for idiots. And these are things that everybody says, but people don't have a clue as to where they originated from and what they really, really mean. So I'm going to bring on Mr. Gitlin to
Yes.
provide some answers to this. So we'll start out. I got my questions here for you, like Jeopardy or something.
Yep.
Number one, it's
Yes.
raining cats and dogs.
I've never seen it rain cats and dogs. And if it did, the Animal Association would come after us probably. So what the hell does that mean, raining cats and dogs? You have to have a pretty big umbrella, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. It has to be a sturdy umbrella too. Imagine a cat, landing on your umbrella. I mean, hell,
How
no.
about an
I think,
80-pound chocolate lab landing on your umbrella? Be kind of tough, wouldn't it?
yeah, or dump it on your umbrella.
Dumping's even
Yeah,
better. It might fall off the side,
that's right. Yeah.
walking
Anyway,
in shit. Right?
that's very true. Hey, number two,
Yeah,
kill two birds with one stone.
it's hard enough to kill one bird with a stone, let alone two. Again, the animal rights would come after you if you killed two birds on one stone.
It's like one of
Doesn't make
those
sense.
old cartoons, Ricochet Rabbit. Bing, bing,
Ricochet,
bing.
bing, 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 ricochet rabbit. Yeah,
Here's
bing, bing,
another one
bing.
for you. I must have
Yeah,
been watching Courageous Cat when I came up with
okay.
some of this
Yeah.
things here. Let the cat out of the bag.
Well, why would you have a cat in a bag for? He might die, first of all, with nothing to eat in the bag. And again, the animal rights are going to come after you for having this cat in the bag. So who comes
That's
up with
just
these things?
Yeah, it's just like Dr. Seuss, a cat in a hat.
Right. Oh, wait, you can't say that no more.
No, you can't. No.
Listen, first of all, that's the only books that Joey understood and comprehended. And Dr. Seuss has a new book out called There's a Puppet in the White House.
I think my camera went out for a second.
And Joey comprehends that.
See it? Did you see that? You see the blip? All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to be politically correct here because I've got two blips here. I think it's like the Gong Show. Somebody wants to give me the hook. Anyway,
Right.
here we go. A dime a dozen.
Now, how's a dime, first of all, is 10 and a dozen is 12. So how's a dime a dozen? How does that work out? Is it $1.20 or something? I don't know.
How's that possible? I don't know.
I don't know.
Here's a good one for you. This came out of the Bush administration. Beat around the bush.
Why would you want to beat around the bush? You want to be in the bush. You don't want to beat around it.
Well, you want to push in the bush,
Push in the bush, right? Right.
Yeah. Remember that
You don't want to
song?
beat around the
Okay.
bush. You want to beat in the bush.
Here's one for you. This is an Andy Williams
Yeah.
idiom. Once in a blue moon.
When's the last time you saw a blue moon?
Never.
I never even saw a blue sun, let alone a blue moon.
It would defy logic if we did, I think,
Do we ever
Here's
think
a
about
great-
these things when we say them, though? No.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No. We just say
It's
them.
here's another one for you. It's the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, who said sliced bread's so great? I like bagels myself, or potato bread. I don't think white bread is so special. So that doesn't make any sense. The best thing since sliced bread, when sliced bread's not that big, that good,
Yeah, pretty bland if you ask me. Here you go. Take it with a pinch of salt.
Why would you take something with a pinch? A pinch of salt is like a amount. You're gonna put salt on something, it's gonna be more than a pinch. Pinch of salt doesn't make sense.
No, a lot of these haven't.
I know. Well, that's why they're idioms for idiots.
Idioms, right? Yeah.
For idiots.
In fact, we're going to have hundreds of these if we keep going. There are so many you can find. Here's another good one here. This is out of a Top Gun Tom Cruise movie. Go down in flames.
Who wants to go down in flames, number one? If you're in a fire, you're burnt up. You ain't going down in flames, man. You're burnt to a crisp. Unless you're going to see Satan, maybe. I don't know. Then you'll be used to it.
Yeah, take the elevator down, yeah.
Like the devil went down to Georgia,
Yes, why Georgia of all places, I wonder,
I don't know. Wonder why I picked Georgia for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. There's a real joke in there, but we're gonna leave that one alone tonight. Here we go.
Okay.
Water under the bridge.
Well, it better be. Why would you need a bridge otherwise? Unless there's water underneath it.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't make no sense. Water under the bridge. Of course, there's gonna be water under the bridge. Would you build
Right.
a land bridge?
Right. Otherwise, it wouldn't. You wouldn't have. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a bridge. It'd just be a highway.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a land bridge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could
water
be,
under the highway. Water under the highway. Okay.
Unless if you're in New Jersey or New York with the way the potholes and the construction, it would be people under the bridge, or cars under there. Here's a good one for you. You can explain this one to me.
Yeah.
Deader than Kelso's nuts.
Well, that's pretty hard because Kelso was a world-class racehorse who I believe won a Triple Crown at one point, and she was a gelding, and geldings don't have nuts. So better than Kelso's nuts. What the hell does that mean?
You got me. Here we go. Spill the beans.
Why would you want to spill beans? You like to eat beans. Why would you spill them? And they're going to make a mess if you do.
Yeah, I had some Bush's beans tonight, and I did my best not to spill them on the stove when I was cooking them, or not to get them on my sweater when I was eating them. So yeah, spilling the beans is.
And you're not giving away the secret of Bush beans.
No, not at all. No. Okay. Let somebody else share that secret, the secret sauce or secret recipe. Not for me to tell.
Right.
Here's a good one here. This is one that sports fans can identify with. The ball is in your court.
What the hell does that mean, the ball's in your court? Why would you be playing with your balls on a court anyway? Unless you're playing pocket pool and you can't find the 8-ball.
You're probably right.
You won't be bouncing them on a court.
The ball
if they bounce on a court, you got real problems.
Speaking of balls in your court, last night I tried to watch for about 30 seconds for this new basketball league on this internet channel. Watching. But yeah, whatever. And I'm looking, and I couldn't even stay with it with 30 seconds. I said, damn, either this doesn't interest me. I said, wait, they're running back and forth. All they do is make the shot, go to the other side, make the same type of shot. I go, I can't spend 2.5 hours to watch guys who don't even need to jump to dunk the ball, put it in. I'm like, move the basket up to 12 feet. Then I'll watch the game because then there's a degree of difficulty, So for a guy who's short, yeah, it's hard for him to make those shots. But for a guy who's 7 foot tall, give me a break, So the ball is in your court. Very interesting one here, So, but I want to take a little diversion. I want to take you down memory lane.
Okay, yeah.
All right, I'm going to take you down memory lane. We're going to talk about some real life stories and. one you share with me. If you don't want to tell it, you don't have to tell it. But
No, I'll tell it. I'll
all
tell
right.
it.
So we're going to talk about your ex-wife and
Which
the
one? I got two.
money.
I got two.
Well, the one with the checks and the
Okay, I can tell you that story. Okay, well, let's tell this story first because this story came first. I've been divorced from my first wife approximately 25 years, and she's been remarried for about 20. And she was married. Well, first of all, I should start the story correctly. So she wanted her checks sent to her directly because she knew the state child support was messed up. So, and it was always behind. So I promised I'd give her a check every week, even though it might be like 3 or 4 days behind, but she had a check every week. And so she gets married somewhere around 20 years ago. And I used to write on the checks where it says what the check is for. I used to put CS week of, and I put my last name because that's the way it was ordered by the court. Her name when she was married to me. And 6 months into this, I guess 6 months, I guess they were married. And I was living with my mom and dad at the time because when I got divorced, there's a lot of stuff that went on, and I ended up living with them. And my mom calls me at work and says, "Hey, you got a letter here with no return address, but it's handwritten. The address to you, handwritten." So I come home from work and I open it up, and it's a letter from her new husband. And he says, "We have a problem, that she's having trouble cashing her checks. And I'd like you to put my name on the checks, my last name on the check, because now her name has changed. Or we're going to have a problem." What are you going to do? Beat me up? You're freaking what? I mean, first of all, you have nothing to do with my child support. And second of all, we think we're like 14 years old. You're going to go meet me on the parking lot and have a fist fight? And first of all, I would have beat the shit out of him anyway, but that's besides the point. Because I'm a little bigger guy than him. And I'd kick him in the nuts, first of all. And that would be the end of that. But anyway, so I send her a check, and I send a copy of the letter with it. And I send another letter that says, if you wanted your checks changed, all you had to do was write me or call me, and I'd be glad to change them. But by the court, I was told to write them out with my last name. And my daughter, who was living at the time, wasn't married yet. She was living home. She was about 18 years old at that time, maybe 20. I don't know how old she was. She said, "Dad, when she saw that letter with your check and his letter, she ripped him a new rear end. What are you doing? It has nothing to do with you. Why'd you send this letter out? That's kind of immature." And he is immature to begin with, but I'm not going to go there. And then she wrote me a letter saying that she wanted her checks changed. So I did, and instead of putting CS week of, because you go to the same bank all the time, I put child support week of, whatever, so she couldn't claim I didn't pay her because I had quite a bit of time to pay yet. I had a couple of, like 5 years maybe to pay yet on that. So anyway, that's a kind of screwed up story. And now I just had a recent one just a couple of weeks ago about somewhere around 1984. First of all, I was married 15 years to my ex-wife. We married in 79. Somewhere around 84, our accountant had told us to buy an IRA to lower our taxes. And when I got divorced, well, for 10 years, we got divorced in 94, 95, something like that. And for 10 years, I was getting statements when I was married to her. And then when I moved to mom and dad, I totally forgot about it because it was a small amount. It was only like $1,000, I think. And recently, my ex-wife calls my daughter and says, "There's a tax document here for your father from Santander Bank," which I never did business with. And my daughter takes a screenshot of it and sends it to me on Messenger. And I don't remember anything about it. Of course, you're talking about almost 30 years ago, almost 40 years ago, I should say. I call Santander Bank and I said, "Listen, I've never done business with you. I don't know what this thing is. Can you explain it to me? And after about an hour on the phone and some lady calling about 5 different departments, she figured out that I bought this IRA in 1984. And since the time that my ex-wife has been married, they've been sending out statements every 6 months. Now her husband works from 4 in the morning till noon, and she works till about, well, she's not working, she's working from home now, but she works about till 6 or 7. She works in the city, and he works in, I believe, Bridgewater or Piscataway. I'm not sure. And he's been throwing these statements out for the last 20 years, which, if I really wanted to be a prick, I could complain to the U.S. Postal Service and get him in a lot of trouble because he's playing with my mail. And all he had to do was give it to my daughter, and she would have given it to me. But he was being a real, what I would call, a-hole, and threw him out. So I have to go now. I have to get the statement from my daughter and bring it to Santander Bank and change the address because there's one more before it matures on July 18th, I believe. And it's now $2,000, and I haven't put it down. I haven't put any money into it for the last 20 something years. I mean, 30 something years, 37 years, whatever.
I think the new husband needs to mature rather than the bonds themselves.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes. I think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna mature in July. I think it might take a few more years.
yeah,
But
he definitely.
that's pretty stupid in my opinion. But what do
Yeah,
I know?
that is super stupid. I mean, it's
It's actually
beyond.
pretty petty if you ask me.
Oh, I agree with you.
Really.
Yeah. I'm glad that you shared this because hopefully somebody will call him and say, "Hey, dickhead, why'd you do that to a good guy?"
Right. Well, you know what? He just listen. I've always been cordial to him. I've always talked to him. I've always treated him with some respect. He hasn't always treated me with respect. Listen, the guy didn't do anything to me. Um, he's married to my ex-wife, so what? Who cares? I don't care. It's it's long over. Listen, my marriage was over a long time ago. Um, I don't care what if I didn't build the house that she lived in, I wouldn't care where she was living, but I happen to know where it was because I built and paid for that house before I got divorced. So, and it's only 15 rooms, by the way. So, whatever, on a half-acre of land, so it's worth about 500,000 right now. Whatever. What I don't have. Not the end of the world. I'm still here. I'm still smiling. I'm still having fun. I'm still enjoying life. Is she happy? I have no idea. Because she still doesn't talk to me after 25 years barely. So I believe that in order to move on with your life, you have to be going straight. And whether you hate me or love me, which is a very fine line, part of you is fractured. So what you think you have with your husband of 20 years, you really don't have. It's not as solid as you think it is. Just my opinion. What happened? Steph lost you, I think. Steph? 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 Steph, where'd you go? Hello? Steph. We lost Steph. What happened? Yeah, what happened?
Somebody cut us off. I got to bring us.
Cut you off. I'm on.
All right, we're going to see if we can get Alan back on here. I don't know why we lost the broadcast, but I'm going to see if I can bring
Now
him
you're
back
there.
on.
You're
Alan, you
back on.
there?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
it's interesting. We're off for a couple of minutes, and as I
about 2
said,
minutes. About two
strange,
minutes.
strange things happen to me. But you know what? Whoever wants to play is gonna have to pay.
Hey, that's right.
You got
That's right.
Stefan Sindoni is not playing with you. I'm gonna
No.
go. I'm gonna go old school. I'm telling you. I'm
So
gonna tell it. Yeah,
we were
yeah.
off for about 2-3 minutes. That's all. So
That's
we
all
have to
right.
apologize for that. It was a technical glitch.
That's exactly right. And we have some funny
Glitch in the
stuff.
head.
Yeah, we're going to keep on going here. Now,
Yeah.
you told me about your ex-wife with the checks, terrible things, and
Right.
one near and dear to your heart is your mother, and I'd like to
Yeah.
have the story about jury duty. And
This is
whoever's out there playing with the transmission, you need to hear this.
right.
So if you want to cut me off, don't cut this off. This is
So
priceless. Alan, go
so my
to it.
mom dies in Middlesex County, New Jersey, and about 6 or 8 months later, I get a something in the mail for her, and it's jury duty. So I call them and I say, "Listen, the woman is dead. She died in your county about 6 or 8 months ago, and obviously she's not coming to jury duty." And the woman on the other side, I don't know how old she was. She sounded kind of young. She said, "Well, if she doesn't show up, we're going to put a bench warrant out for her arrest." And so I say to her, "Did you hear what you just said? You're going to put a bench warrant out for a woman who's dead." She says, "Yes, I'm going to put a bench warrant out for her arrest." My mother's in Beth Israel Cemetery, the fourth block, the third grave from the left. So I said, "That's where you can send the notice because she's dead." There's a marker there that says, Goldie Gitlin from this day to this day. And my father's right next to her. So if you want, you can send him one too. I don't care. But they ain't getting it, that's for sure. Now, all she had to do was probably look up in a record somewhere to see that the woman had died 6 or 8 months ahead of time. I didn't get it. Why would you send a bench warrant out, put a bench warrant out for a lady who's dead? That makes no sense.
No, rather than letting her fingers do the walking on the computer, her mouth started doing the talking, and she's spewing out bullshit.
Well, this
That's
is what they're
ridiculous. I mean,
hired. People can't think. The dumbing down of America. Just do what
we're
I
gonna
do what I'm told, not what I think.
exactly forget about history. Trust me. Okay, yeah. I don't get it sometimes. I don't get it, but
And
yeah,
and there's no bench warrant as far as I know because I've gone there many times. I didn't see any notices. So. Unless they pinned them on a tree and I didn't look for them. I don't know. There's a couple of trees over there, but
you got some new binoculars looking for your mom. Maybe she's coming
right.
out. Yeah.
I gotta go in.
Everyone's
I gotta go in the main office see if there's any warrants that I need to pick up for.
yeah. That's funny. Funny.
You can't make this up. You cannot make
No,
this
no.
up. Cannot.
I was watching a movie the other day about John Gotti, and
Right.
in the movie it showed the cemetery where supposedly he's buried. And I'm looking at
Right.
the gates. I'm saying that's St. John's Cemetery in Queens. That's where my
Right.
grandfather and my uncle and some of my family members are at. I said, gee, this is interesting that I see that because he must be in that cemetery. Not that I'm going to go ask, hey, where's
Right.
John Gotti
Don
buried?
Gotti. Right.
But the interesting thing is now you can't even bring flowers for anybody to any gravesite because of some union matters. So
Right.
not like it used to be where you can go and you could pay your respects. Now, tell your story walking, I guess.
Or walking while you're
or,
telling your story.
or pay your respects walking here.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, that's interesting with the jury duty. Alan, tell me about
Yeah.
the three guys
Oh, this is a
who
good
play
joke.
golf. Yeah.
Oh, this is a good joke. These three guys play golf every Friday for 3 years. And they come home one day and their wife said, "Hey guys, we booked a 2-week vacation for you." So they go, "Where?" And they go, "Hilton Head, South Carolina." And the guys are jumping up and down. "All right, we're going to play golf. All right." And the women go, "Whoa, whoa. We go down to Hilton Head. You can't play golf." And the men are like, "What are you, freaking nuts? That's the golf capital of the world, except for Florida. Come on, everybody plays golf there." So they think about it for about an hour. And they say, "Hey, guys, at least we're getting away for 2 weeks, so we'll go." So they go. And everybody's playing golf, and everybody's asking them to play golf, and they can't play golf. So one day they meet for lunch, and the three of them get together and say, "Listen, I don't care what the women say. We're booking a 9 o'clock tea time now for Friday morning, and we're going to play golf." So Friday comes, and the three of them show up, and they start talking amongst themselves. How'd you get here? How'd you get here? How'd you get here? And the first guy said, I was smart. I bought my wife a full-length mink coat. She told me I could go play golf. The second guy said, I did better than you. I bought my wife a brand new Porsche Carrera 911 convertible. And my wife said, I could go play golf. The third guy said, you know what? You're both stupid. He said, what do you mean? Last night I was in bed with my wife. I said, intercourse, a golf course. She said, go play 18 holes. I think it was a great joke, man.
Yeah,
It's a funny joke, right?
Yeah, hey,
Clean.
you know, and so the acronym for golf is gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. You know, it's interesting. Like most people don't know that. So wait a minute, how do you have a LGPA, you know, for golf tournament if ladies are forbidden? I could never figure that one out. You know, how do you have a ladies league?
They're only allowed to play with themselves. It's like men, they play with themselves. They don't play with women on a golf course.
That's right. And you know why it's 18 holes in the golf course? Because in Scotland they walked around with a jigger, and the jigger
ran out after 18 holes.
18 shots is all it would hold. So that's why it was 18 holes, because they got ripped along the whole way. So
they couldn't make it to the 19th hole.
No, not at all. Well, when they make it to the 19th hole, they were in some bar, you know, in Scotland or something like that.
Well, you know where an Irish family goes on vacation, right?
Nowhere.
To another bar. And you know what a 7-course meal is, don't you? In Ireland?
No,
A 6-pack and a potato.
Having dinner with Sister Irene. All right.
Right.
Yeah. Here you go.
Okay.
Here's a good one, and I know I've never heard this.
Yeah.
And he's one of the funniest comedians who ever lived, Buddy Hackett. And you got a Buddy Hackett joke here.
This is a great, well, there's two, but this is a good joke. This is stolen from Buddy Hackett. He did this on Johnny Carson. It's got to be 30 years ago, I would guess. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe more. And I just love this joke, and it's funny as hell. So this guy goes duck hunting, and he shoots down a duck, and it lands on a barn. So he goes to get it. And as he's going to get it, the farmer comes out. Says, where do you think you're going? So I'm going to get my duck. And the farmer says, wait a minute. That duck landed on my barn. It's mine now. The guy says, you're freaking nuts. I shot it down. The farmer says, listen to me. That duck landed on my barn. It's mine. So the guy said, listen, I've been out here for like 6 weeks. This is the only thing I shot down. And the farmer said, listen, I don't care if you've been out here 6 months. That duck is mine now. And the farmer says to him, by the way, where are you from? He said, well, I'm from the city. And he says, well, you don't know country rules. And the guy said, what do you mean country rules? Country rules are if you shoot something down, it lands on my property, it's mine. And the guy said, please, I got to go back with something. And they're going back and forth about a half hour. And the farmer says, you know, you don't seem like a bad guy. He said, I tell you what, we'll sell this country style. The guy says, what do you mean country style? He says, well, I kick you in the nuts, you kick me in the nuts. I kick you in the nuts, you kick me in the nuts. And who's ever left stand, that's whose duck it'll be. And the guy says, you know, not for nothing. That sounds a little painful. But if that's what I got to do to get my duck, then let's go. So the farmer says, I go first. And he kicks him as hard as he can. And the guy goes down, oh, motherfucker, oh, my God, I'm never using my nuts again, oh, my God. And he rolls on the ground for like 45 minutes. And he finally, oh, my God, I can't believe you hit me so hard. And he stumbles to his feet after about 45 minutes. And he says, I guess it's my turn, huh? And the guy says, nah, you can have the freaking duck. And I just thought that was so funny. He does that Johnny Carson, and he knocks over the little table they have coffee on with Ed McMahon, and he's rolling on the ground for like a couple of minutes, you know, going Nina, Nina, Nana, Nana, Nina, Nana. And then he tells the punchline, and Johnny Carson almost fell off his chair, I swear to God. And the crowd went crazy. You know, it's such a funny joke, man. And I tell it, and I tell it just the way he told it. You know, he put a few little things in there, but it's just a funny joke. You know.
Yeah, anybody who's never heard of Buddy Hackett needs to look him up on YouTube, and he was a master of comedy and one of the greats, and he'll be missed for a long
Oh
time.
yeah, he was a master storyteller and told some incredible stories. Did I just hear one about when his wife was pregnant? Um, yeah, but you got to see it. This is when you have to see it. You can't tell it because there's stuff that has to go on. You have to actually. It's a visual, so you
Well,
have to see it. But
here's when
funny
you
show.
can tell. Here's when you can tell. Tell us
Yeah.
about Desert Island.
Oh yeah, there's a guy. Oh yeah, this is a good. This is a good kind of dirty joke, but that's okay. It's risque. Let's live it that way. So this guy is stranded on a desert island, and after about 20 years, he finds a lamp and he rubs it, and a genie appears, and the genie says, "Listen, I'm your genie, and you have 3 wishes, but be careful because you only got 3 wishes." So he says, I always wanted a Lamborghini. So, boom, he's got a Lamborghini. Then he says, genie says, "Listen, you only got 2 wishes left. Be very careful here." So the guy says, I always wanted to have like a harem of women, nude women. So, poof, he's got like 20 women there, naked women. He's like, "Wow, this is great, man. Got a great genie." This is. And the genie says, "Listen, be careful. You only got 1 wish left." So he says, "I want my schlong to touch the floor." The next thing he knows, he has no knees. So I think that's a pretty funny joke. It's right on the edge there, whatever. Right on the edge of the island. Right on the edge of the island.
I got a schlong joke for you here now.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, I'm about, I don't know, about 13 years old. And
Right.
One of my cousins calls me up and he said, "We know you got a projector, a 16 millimeter projector. Can you bring it over? Because we've got some French films that we want to see, me and the boys."
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Okay." I came over. I brought the 16 millimeter projector and I hook it up in the basement. And we're down there, and I got it on the reel. And what we're watching is these stag films with these women of pleasuring a boatload of sailors, right? So now, while we're down there, there's a knock on the basement door. So Bruno says, "Who is it?" He goes, "This is your father." He said, "What are you guys doing down there?" And the father goes, "Whoa, Dad, we're just playing around." He goes, "No, I want to know what you're doing. You got like 10 guys down there. What are you doing? You sound like you're having too much fun. I want to come down and see what you're doing." No, Dad, please don't. He goes, "It's my house. Open the door."
Right.
So, and we're all sitting there like, watching these film here. The father comes down and he says, "So what are you watching?" To Bruno. Bruno says, "Oh, we're watching Steve's summer vacation movies." His mother and father, well, they went away to Florida, right? Thinking that the father, is just going to take that and turn around and go back upstairs.
Let's watch it.
Yes, he says, "I want to watch." So he sits next to me, right?
Oh, shit.
And Bruno's on the other side. This girl is giving one guy head and getting it in the booty hole, and the other guy's like clapping. He turns to me and says, "Hey, Steve, is that
nice
your
vacation. Mother?" Nice vacation.
Is that your mother? I tell you what, I was like never so embarrassed in my life. And then when I went home with the projector, I looked at my mother. "Mama, so did you have a good afternoon?" I was like, "Oh man, Mom."
Shit. Well, you know what I always say. You know how you always read a magazine or a newspaper or whatever, and they say, "I got 6 inches." Who the freak carries a ruler with them or a measuring stick? And when did you measure it? When you were soft? When you were hard? What? How do you know how many inches you have? Really? Who the freak knows that? Let me see. Let me see one night. Let me see one night. Let me jerk off and measure my dick and see how big it is. And what capacity is it? Half hard or full hard? What? I don't know.
Well,
how the hell do you know that?
A lot of guys like to tell tales. It's just funny. Who caught the biggest fish? So it's just funny.
Right.
And most of the time it's all BS anyway, because
of course it is.
It's ego.
How big it is, right?
Yeah, it's all ego. I got another story for you while we're in story mode. I'm working in your state, the state of potholes, New Jersey.
State of confusion.
State of confusion. Well, I'm in the state of confusion. I'm in New York, but but it's
Well, it's two states are pretty close. Don't forget.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here it is. I was a recruiter for temporary light industrial staffing agency where I go out and I provide workers
Right.
to warehouses like packaging to do all different sorts of stuff. So I go to this one warehouse and I knew they used about 50 people a day. I'm saying, gee, if I could only get 1/3 of that, that's great billing for the company. So I go in and I give my card to the manager. I said, by the way, my name is yada yada yada, and I represent exploit, and we provide workers to buildings such as yours, and take care of your packaging needs. So I look at his card, and I'm looking at it, and I said, oh, your name is Phil, Weisenheimer. He goes, yeah, my name's Phil. I said, you've got a very interesting title. I said, I'd like to read the title out to you. It says HMFIC. I said, what does HMFIC stand for? He goes, well, if you must know, I'm the head motherfucker in charge.
Right, right.
I looked at him. I go, okay. He goes, listen, I'm busy.
And I want to know whose mother you fucked.
Yeah. So I looked at him. I said, this is going to be interesting. I look at him, and he goes, you got a minute, start talking. So I'm like, oh, man, this guy's a real Weisenheimer. Right? So I said, well, I can give you this, that, and the other thing. He says, well, I'll tell you what I want, and I'll tell you what I don't want. He goes, first, let me tell you what I don't want. I don't want any blacks because they're lazy. And I'm looking at him. He says, I don't want any Puerto Ricans because they steal. But if you got a dozen Mexicans, I'll take them right now. I said, Mexicans, huh? So I'm looking at him. I said, tell you what, how about a dozen Koreans? So he looks at me and says, are they any good?
How would I know? How the hell would I know?
I'm just playing it off, Mexicans, whatever. I can't talk that way. I'm a manager of employment agency.
Right. One hung low.
That's discrimination,
So do not. How long's the Chinaman?
Yeah. So about 3 days later, Alan, I get a phone call from Phil. He calls me, says, by the way, he goes, can I get those Mexicans and Koreans? And I said, oh my God. I said, no, I don't have the Mexicans. I said, I try to line up those Koreans for you. And I was playing off. One of my co-workers says, we don't have no Koreans. I said, yeah. I said, I got to blow them off. I said, it's about the best way I could blow them off. I said, because I cannot work with a bigot or a racist, so I never did the work. But
nowadays he'd be okay with Biden, of course.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't have any problem getting them now.
That's very, very true. Yeah. So in those days, I mean, the companies were very, very racist in what they wanted, and they could say it, but if we say it, off our heads.
No.
But it was interesting though, like the HMFIC story. I figured I'd just share that with you right now. But
yeah, that was good. That was good.
But we're off in a good start here, and next week, as I said to you, and before we went on, we've got the new channel that I want to launch. God willing, we'll be able to do it without a glitch or an interruption, which is going to be live Thursday night, and it'll be on
with Stef. I think it should change to live Thursday night with Stef the G-Man.
Stef, all right. Well, I already branded. I have to do a different brand, but we'll see.
Brand.
Yeah. Well, if it's available, I can get it. I can't see why it wouldn't be available.
Yeah.
I think what we're doing now is some good stuff, and we're going to be sharing things with Alan and myself, stories, analogies, metaphors, you name it. Idioms for idiots. We're going to come at you in a lot of different directions, and we plan to make it entertaining and funny. So if you like what you're hearing, hang with it. If we get blipped off for a couple of seconds, whatever, Stef is going to figure out, because he's the internet guy, how to get back on, because what doesn't, kill me will make me stronger. So this is Strange Brew. I know things happen, and we'll just chalk it up to a glitch tonight, but we're off to a good start. Al, any more jokes you got tonight?
No, that's about it for right now. We're pretty good.
All right. So I'm liking what we're doing right now. And as I said, let's keep it real. Let's keep it funny, and let's keep it moving. And every Thursday we'll do this, and God willing, we'll get it out without interruption. But Alan, I want to thank you very much, and I want to shout out to you and to give out your website. Can you do that, please?
www.theg-man.net. You can see what
All
I've
right,
done,
so
and you can't see what I'm going to do yet because of COVID, but you'll see all the stuff I did, comedy and some commercials and some major movies and a lot of independent stuff and some modeling. And I'm working on a few other things yet. So we'll see what
all right,
happens.
listen, we got one. You know what? Let's end with the
Okay.
Chinaman story. Let's tell that tonight. End that one.
So
How we
how
met.
how we met? How we met?
Yeah, and why
Okay.
we're going to be doing this every Thursday. What created this situation?
Um, I went to see my cousin who was dying in St. Louis, and I took a train ride to Chicago, and then 5 hours back to St. Louis, whatever. And I was on my way back, and I was in the Chicago train station, and there was a Chinese guy running around the train station. We had not met yet. And he was running around with a chicken, like a chicken with his head cut off, running all around the train station. And we find out that he's looking for tape because he's got a box in a box, and they won't let it on the train unless it's taped up. And after about a half hour of this guy going all over the freaking train station looking for tape, apparently, the Amtrak lady says, "You know what? I'm tired of listening to you. I'm trying to, I'm watching you run all around the train station. You tell me you got to get on this train. You can't miss this train. It's very important you make this train." And the train's going to New York. And she tapes up the box for him, and he gets on the train. And he ends up sitting in our car. And at that point, we didn't really know each other. And he's sitting in the back with the conductor. And there's about 10 of us that were starting to talk and hang out. We're all hanging out. And you're getting married for about 20 minutes. But anyway.
That's another
And
story.
we're sitting there just BSing and having a lot of fun and finding out where everybody's from and where everybody's going. And we're just hanging out, having a good time. And we leave Chicago, where we're now in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's about 11 o'clock at night. And I go to the bathroom, and I open the bathroom door, and it reeks of marijuana. Well, first of all, before this Chinese guy was running up and down the aisle, and we're not really paying attention to him. But he's running up and down the aisle like 20 times, and we're just like looking like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? But we're really not paying attention to him because we're all telling jokes and stuff and just busting each other's balls. Um, and I go to the bathroom and I open the bathroom door, and it reeks of marijuana, like somebody smoked like 2 or 3 joints in there for sure. And of course, it has nowhere to go. Um, and he's sitting in the back of the car with the conductor. And I just look over at him and I don't say nothing. And I go back and tell everybody else, and they, what kind of idiot would do that? It's got nowhere to go. And you're smoking in a bathroom where it's kind of like locked in. And as soon as you open that door, obviously it's going to stink. And so we go to sleep, and we wake up the next morning, and the conductor gets on the PA around 8:30. I guess it was maybe 9 o'clock. I don't even remember the time. And he says, we're pulling into Buffalo, New York, and we're going to do a 20-minute. No, there's going to be a spot check on IDs. And he says that the Border Patrol is going to meet us at Buffalo because they're going to check some IDs to make sure that we're American citizens or whatever. I don't know. Well, we didn't know. We don't know what he was really talking about, but we said, okay, whatever. So we pull into Buffalo train station, and there's the Buffalo police, there's the Amtrak police, and there's the Border Patrol waiting for us. And he says, everybody has to get off this car. And so we get off, and we notice that nobody else is getting off the train but us. There's our car, which is about 20 people maybe. They check a couple IDs, and they tell us to get back on the train. And the Chinese guy, they say, you're not getting back on the train. We're taking your luggage and your box off. And they're talking to him, and we pull out. And we get to Albany, and he says there's gonna be a 20-minute rest area where we can actually have some decent food and go to the bathroom or stretch our legs a little bit because the food on the train is not all that great. I wouldn't feed it to my dog, but then again, I don't want to kill my dog. But anyway, so anyway, as we're getting off in Albany, the conductor says, "Hey, you know what happened to that guy?" We go, "No, we really don't know. He got arrested." And we say, "For what?" In the box that the Amtrak lady taped up was a 3-pound brick of marijuana. He took it from Illinois to Ohio, and now we're in New York. That's a federal offense because now you cross the state lines. So we just like, all of us kind of like, we're just kind of laughing, like, what kind of idiot would do that? And that's why he's probably a criminal, because he did that. Now, you go to Chinatown sometimes to have a massage, and you say you might have saw the guy about a month
Yeah,
ago. So
yeah, I
maybe
think
he
his
got
name
out
is.
after 3 years.
Yeah, I think so. I think his name is Benny Hands now, is what I think. And look, I go,
It
gee,
might be
everybody.
one hung low.
Yeah. So I just
Fungu
wondered.
nuts.
But
Fungu
it's
nuts.
funny because
Yeah.
that same train trip I had gone on, I don't know, L.A. Coming across, and
Hmm.
in New Mexico, there was another drug situation where some agent gets on the train. I'm sitting there and I'm minding my business, reading, on my computer reading, and comes over and says, "Can I check your ID?" I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Oh, can I see your ticket?" I says, "Why?" He says, "Do you have luggage with you?" I go, "Yeah, it's up in the overhead compartment." He says, "Well, who's that woman you were talking to?" I said, "Woman?" I said, "You mean in the snack car?" I said, "Some woman who got on the train." I said, "I'm sitting down, and she asked to share the table with me, and we shared a couple minutes conversation, and that was all." He goes, "Well, how do you know her?" I said, "I think you're getting a little too personal at this point." He goes, "Can I look in your luggage?" I said, "Absolutely not." "Can I see your ticket?" I said, "Hell no." He says to me, he goes, "We're looking for people who got contraband and drugs on the train." I said, "Well, you better look somewhere else. Have a nice day." So he left. So when I got to Chicago and I saw the Chinaman, fiddling around with this box that
Mm,
had to be taped,
right.
and I'm sitting there with the woman that I married for 20 minutes, and I'm
Right.
saying to myself, "What the hell is this guy doing?" It was kind
Right.
of odd, him with this box there, and he's uttering out these things in Japanese or Chinese slang. I couldn't figure out. Bing, bang, boom. And I'm like, what's this guy so irate about? And then I saw the woman, trying to tell him he can't take this box on the train, and didn't realize that when I got on the train, he would be sitting in the same car as we were
Right.
in the
Right.
back of the car. We were more
Right.
scooted towards the front,
Right.
and so it was kind of interesting that this guy would, go across state lines with the weed. It must have been really good weed for him to go across
Somebody,
with three
somebody,
pounds
didn't-
of weed.
somebody didn't get their delivery. You know. But that was a funny
No,
train ride also, because remember the guy who was sitting next to me, the black guy, and I
the
had
one
a
who borrowed your
charger.
charger. Yeah, yeah.
I had a charger, and all of a sudden, I go to the bathroom. I come back, and he's got my charger. And as soon as his phone charges, he gets up and moves his seat. Like, what the hell is that all about? You never even asked me to use the charger.
I got to tell you, Chicago's a pretty strange place. I'm waiting for that train there before. Let me get something to eat. And some
Yeah.
guy comes over and he tries to grab my luggage. I had to grab my luggage and like straddle it between my two legs. Then I went to where the lockers are. And this one guy says, "Oh, by the way, I'm getting on the same train with you. If you want to go get something to eat, I'll watch your luggage." I go, "Really?" I said, "Tell you what." I said, "I will watch yours. I'm in no hurry." You know,
Right.
Bang, zoom. He was gone. I'm saying, you know what? I'm glad I didn't have to put my foot in his ass. And,
Right.
I'm saying to myself, it's 2 times in 20 minutes where somebody's trying to rob me in Chicago, so I'm glad I wasn't in Philadelphia, the city of
Chicago's
brotherly
my
love.
kind of town.
Yeah,
You know.
you got to watch wherever you are. So I got on that train after all this, situations on the train, I was like, oh no, the Chinese
Now
guy.
you need a bulletproof vest in Chicago.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's a shame, though. No matter where you go now, it's just very sad. I mean, I'm on the train a couple of weeks ago, and some guys
People
trying to play,
slash people.
3 card Monte with these people on the train, trying to get them to give them money. Guess where the die is, or guess where the card is, or the ball is under the cars and stuff. And I realized,
Guess what train station I'm at now.
and I'm looking at this and like they're trying to hustle people on the train. I'm going, damn. I mean, here it is. People got to wear a freaking mask, right? How the hell they got the moxie to come on and try to hustle people
No.
during a pandemic? So the guy looks at me and I said, what's wrong with you guys are doing? And he's telling me, I'll kick your ass. I go, really? You? And what army? He's like 6'2", big guy like you. And there's like 12 people on the train car. I don't get mad very often. I said,
Right.
look, let's get off the train right now at this stop. And I looked at the people in the train car. I said, none of you got any BALLS. I said, but that's okay. And I looked at him. I said, you, my friend, get off the train, and I will promise you I'll beat the shit out of you, and then I'll call a cop for you and your friends, and we'll get all of you off the train. All of a sudden, Alan, they're all gone to the next train car. And this one fella said to me, he goes, I saw what was going on. I said, well, most people see things,
But
they're
don't want to
afraid
get involved.
they don't want to get involved. I said, me, I'm at the stage right now, maybe because I'm older, I don't give a fuck. It's just the lack of a better term, because you know what? You have to stand up for what's right and what's not right. And I told someone the other day, I said, it's not a white thing or a black thing. It's about the right thing.
Right.
That's to me what most matters. You put your pants on the same way every day, and you stand up for what you believe in.
And some people put the same pants on every day too.
Yeah, well, that's okay too. If you can put a little, spray some cologne on there, whatever.
Once in a while.
Yeah, but I like washing my clothes on a regular basis.
Yeah, me too.
I just do. I like the smell of my clothes rather than eau de peau,
Eau de peau, right. Eau de peau. Eau de stink.
Or smell like Pepe de Pew, So
Eau de stink. It's the stink smell.
Exactly. I rather have a distinct smell rather than a stink smell.
Right. That's right. Yeah. You played off that.
I would rather be distinct. Yeah, I can be discreet and I can be distinct, but I can't stink from nobody.
Right. That's right.
Like Jimmy Durante. Ink a dink a dink a dink a dink.
Ink a dink, stink a dink a dink.
Yeah.
Stink a dink a dink.
It reminds me of this joke about this. I created this character years ago, and the guy's name was Jaime Stinkashits. He had a hard time when he was growing up.
I went to school with him.
But did you? Well, he had a hard time with playing hide and seek because he couldn't hide nowhere because they always smelled them coming. So he couldn't play hide and seek. But
that's what his wife said. I smell you coming.
Oh, I got one last one. I'll say this now. The store is no longer in business. I was managing this store, Nobody Beats the Wiz in Toms River, New Jersey. And the company was run by 37. Syrian. Exactly. The company's run by Syrian Jews. And they said to me, Steph, we want you to groom one of these young guys who are working for you to become the sales manager and then ultimately become the store manager. I said, fine, I'll do that, So I'm taking him under my wing. He's got the kippah on and he's very religious, got the beard and, the pails, and he very observant, and so I got him under my wing. I'm trying to teach him. So one day he's in his car. I'm going out to lunch and I see him. I look over. I said, there's Isaiah. So as I'm walking past him to get to my car, I look over and he's got his windows rolled down. It's a summer day. And I look in and he's got a ton of bags of McDonald's and all Burger King and all wrappers in this car, front and back seat. And I look over and I says, Isaiah, I said, we have garbage cans, outside the store. I said, cleanliness is next to godliness. And I look and there's roaches like on his shoulder, like climbing all over him, right? He says, yeah, Stefan. He goes, I am a filthy bastard, ain't I? I said, look, you need to clean this car. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an extra hour. Do what you got to do. I said, but don't drive the car like that. I said, because I want to groom you, but if I can't groom you, I'm going to have to freaking broom you.
Right, out the door.
You're going to drive me with sugar.
You're going to get kicked out the door. That's how I'm going to groom you.
So...
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah, so it's so funny, but the guy was filthy as the day is long. And I go, oh, man, I got to train this filthy bastard, because that was the order. So, okay, you do what you got to do. But I realized that you can't always judge the book by the cover. Very smart guy, but when it came to common sense,
and you can't always judge the cover by the book.
No, that's another one. You
doesn't always
flip
match
things around. You flip things around, Mr. Backwards. But yeah, that was my story about that. So to me, cleanliness is a must. I mean, your appearance. I mean, people judge you. That's your calling card. When they see you, that they look from your shoes up to your head, and they may not say anything, but they're judging you the whole time. So when if this guy's car, no one go near him. I was like, I don't know how far you're going to go in life.
Listen, I always say if your car's a mess, your life is a mess, and your house is a mess. And 9 times out of 10, that's correct. The way you keep your cars, the way you keep your life, and the way your house is.
Well, I got to tell you, it's not what you say, it's what you demonstrate. And when I saw that, you know what? I'm out of here. That's it.
Right. Right.
I can only train you in the mechanics of being the best salesperson.
I can't tell you how good hygiene.
Exactly. That I can't do. Your mother and father, if they dropped you on your head, it's not my fault.
Right.
And so I think that's all shit out this night.
That's all shit out tonight.
Yeah. So Alan.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna wrap this up.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. This is Stef, the internet
and
guy,
the G-Man,
and the G-Man, Alan Gitlin. So we're signing out. See ya.
Bye.